Wink News begins with breaking news.
If you drive I-75 for your morning commute, it may be slowed down this morning. Right now, the Florida Highway Patrol and Lee County Sheriff's Office are working a rollover crash. Good morning, I'm Corey Lazar in for Rob Spicker.
And I'm Jen Stacy. That crash shut down the off-ramp onto Palm Beach Boulevard. Now
we want to get you right out to Wink News reporter Stephanie Susskind, who is live with the latest on the crash. Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly and Miriam. We're here on...
In the last 20 minutes, Wink News has confirmed this was a wrong-way driver on I-75, and troopers believe alcohol played a role. Take a look at the mangled car out here. This is on the grass between I-75 southbound at mile marker 141 and the exit ramp southbound. Now, the car is just mangled. We're learning it actually wrapped around a power pole, taking out that power pole. Now, Florida Highway Patrol troopers are on scene, as well as Lee County Sheriff's deputies. They are blocking this exit ramp. They tell us right now that a woman was heading north in the southbound lanes when she went off the road and crashed into that power pole. Troopers say they do believe alcohol was a factor in this crash. The woman was taken to the hospital where she is now in surgery. So troopers will be investigating throughout the morning. They're also waiting for the power company to come out here and make sure that those lines are no longer live out there before they do any more work around that car. Now, of course, this is going to be impacting your morning commute with this exit ramp closed. Let's toss things over to Wink News traffic anchor Therese O'Shea for more on that. Therese.
Yeah, Stephanie, thanks so much. We want to take you out to our FDOT cameras right now, give you another view of that crash happening right now, shutting down that exit ramp to Palm Beach Boulevard. So southbound here is what's closed off right now. Let's show you where exactly on our maps that is, and you can see that out here just south of the river. I'd suggest your best bet, instead of dealing with that closure out there, is to exit here either at Luckett Road, which is exit 139, about 2 miles south of Palm Beach Boulevard, or 138 at MLK Jr. Boulevard, State Road 82. Also want to mention we had a crash overnight, very serious crash out here in Charlotte County at Oil Well Road and Catfish Road. That's right off of Bass Road, just to the east of I-75, where one person died overnight. We do have some video from our crew out on the scene of that crash. You're taking a look at that right now. One person we do know is dead after that crash. It happened just after midnight out on Oil Well Road, and FHP does tell Wink News that 55-year-old Jerry Bailey was the victim in that crash. He was driving a pickup truck when it went off the roadway, throwing him from the car and killing him. The good news this morning for drivers heading out that way is the road is back open. Just keep in mind we still have that closure out at Palm Beach Boulevard, and we'll update you on that throughout the morning. That's your Wink News traffic. Now let's check in with Wink News meteorologist Joey Stovine. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning, Therese. Live view outside in downtown Fort Myers. Off to a dry start to our Thursday. Visibility looking much better this morning, so that's good news for that morning drive, as well as we are looking at no issues with dense fog. That was the case yesterday morning for some of you across inland areas here in Southwest Florida. Looking much better this morning. Temperature-wise, we're at 62, our warmest start of the week. Each morning you've headed out the door and maybe you haven't needed as thick of a jacket as you did the morning before that, as those temperatures have been steadily coming up as expected. 66 right now in Naples. Still, perhaps you may need a light jacket this morning. Otherwise, things looking good. Just a few clouds have increased, so should provide a pretty nice sunrise this morning. Sunrise at 7:18. So for that morning commute, maybe a little bit of patchy fog shouldn't be too big of an issue. Up close to 70 by 9 o'clock. We'll head into the upper 80s this afternoon with just a very small chance of an inland shower. Most of you stay dry today under a partly cloudy sky. Guys.
It is 5:03, and just into the Wink newsroom overnight, at least 2 people are dead and 29 others are hurt at a college campus in Kenya. Gunmen attacked that campus early this morning, shooting randomly into dormitories. Police say the attack has the signatures of a Somali Islamic extremist group. Police and military surrounded the buildings, and at last check, were trying to secure the area. This is still a very fluid situation. We'll have updates throughout our newscast this morning. Right now, Wink News has a warning ahead of the Easter holiday weekend. Hundreds of Allegiant Air flights could be grounded because of a potential pilot strike.
Allegiant sent an alert to Wink News Wednesday afternoon warning its passengers that the Teamsters Union, which represents its pilots, intended to initiate what it called an illegal strike, which could disrupt flights during the Easter holiday weekend. But a court order stopped that potential strike, so all flights are scheduled to go off as planned. Allegiant and its pilots union have been negotiating a new contract for 2.5 years to no avail.
Being my flight's tomorrow, no, it's no fun at 3 o'clock this afternoon to get an email saying, hey, sorry, we don't know what's going to happen. but if you want to get another flight, you can. They were waiving the fees and everything else, which is fine, but when the only flight to Allentown is Allegiant out of Punta Gorda, puts me in a little tight spot.
Now, if for some reason the court order is ignored, the pilots do strike and there are flight delays and cancellations. Allegiant says it will automatically refund the affected passengers. Of course, count on Week News to keep you updated.
A local DJ says he will continue to throw parties at Sunsplash Water Park in Cape Coral, even though neighbors are worried about noise and safety. Over the weekend, there were reports of teens having sex in the pools, drinking and playing loud music. But the party's DJ tells Wink News that he signed a contract that would allow 6 more after-hour parties at Sunsplash. The manager at the water park says, though, because Saturday's party got so out of hand, she will never let another event like that take place at the park. According to the DJ, though, the next party is scheduled for April 25th. Today, all human remains found in the Flight 9525 crash wreckage have been recovered. Medical leaders are trying to match them with DNA profiles from the 150 people on board last week's Germanwings flight. Investigators believe the co-pilot, 27-year-old Andreas Lubitz, purposely crashed that plane. Today, mountain troops in the French Alps are clearing the crash site of debris and personal items.
This morning, lawmakers in Arkansas and Indiana are working on changes to religious rights bills that caused a firestorm of criticism. The laws were originally designed to allow people to conduct business based on their religious beliefs. But critics say the laws allow businesses to deny service to gays and lesbians. Mark Albert reports from Washington.
Indiana lawmakers say they are close to an agreement on new legislation that would clarify the state's controversial religious freedom law. Amid backlash and protests, they worked into the night Wednesday.
The question is removing the specter that's been raised of discrimination and denial of service, facilities, some other things. So that's what we're focusing on.
They are expected to vote today on adding new language that would amend the law to explicitly prevent businesses from using it to discriminate against gays and lesbians. The current version of the law has its share of supporters, including Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz.
The analog of what Indiana just passed, that was passed in 1993, passed nearly unanimously through Congress. Democrat Bill Clinton signed it into law.
A similar religious freedom bill is now on the desk of Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. He's refusing to sign the bill, though, until it's more in line with federal law. In the state laws, the language is often broader, and there are different interpretations.
My son Seth signed the petition asking me, Dad, the governor, to veto this bill. And he gave me permission to make that reference.
Hutchinson faced an onslaught of criticism over the state law from businesses, including Walmart. He has just 5 days to take action, or the bill becomes law without his signature. Mark Albert, Wink News.
Today, Florida's House is expected to vote on its budget, but lawmakers say there just isn't enough money for everything. State workers, for example, are not getting a raise. There's no money for new judges to handle the growing number of cases in the courts. There is more money for schools, but most of it is coming from an increase in local property taxes. And there's a chance that Florida's hospitals could lose more than $1 billion that is now used to help them pay for treating the poor and the uninsured. Also today, the Senate is expected to pass its school testing bill. Wednesday, the Senate voted to require an independent study of tests put in place this year. The new test replaced the old Florida Comprehensive Assessment test, and it's based primarily on Common Core standards. The House has already passed a bill that would eliminate an 11th grade standardized test and would limit other tests. But the Senate wants to delay Florida's A to F grades for schools until that new test is reviewed. It's 5:08, and right after the break, Wink meteorologist Joey Sovine will join us with our weather on the ones.
It's Thursday. You're watching Southwest Florida's news leader, Wink News This Morning. We'll be right back.
That's your Wake News traffic. Jen, Corey, back to you.
Another day, another deadline in the ongoing negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. Right now, talks are still going on between Iran, the U.S., and 5 other world powers.
The State Department says Secretary of State John Kerry will stay in Switzerland to continue negotiating. The group has been locked in, haggling over what an initial understanding should look like for nearly a week. In addition, they are trying to fashion other documents that would lay out in more detail the steps they must take by June 30th to meet those goals.
Today in the murder trial against former New England Patriots and Florida Gators Aaron Hernandez, the prosecution could be resting its case. Now, one of the prosecution's last witnesses was Alexander Bradley. Bradley told jurors how Hernandez told him he had a difficult time trusting people, including his friends. Hernandez has pleaded not guilty to the June 2013 killing of Odin Lloyd, who was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiancée. Troubled millionaire Robert Durst is set to appear in court in Louisiana today. He is facing weapons charges. Police arrested Durst last month at a New Orleans hotel, allegedly with a pistol and marijuana. Durst's lawyers say that the arrest documents are invalid because they cover up the fact FBI agents searched the room before police obtained a warrant. Durst is the subject of a recent HBO documentary, also is facing murder charges in California. A New Jersey Senator, Robert Menendez, is expected to appear in a New Jersey court today as he vows to fight federal corruption charges against him. Menendez stands accused of accepting nearly $1 million in unreported gifts and campaign contributions from a longtime friend, a Florida doctor. In exchange, federal prosecutors say the Democrat used the power of his seat to benefit his friend's personal and financial interests.
Some new information for you this morning. The Justice Department says it will not file criminal contempt charges against Lois Lerner. The possibility did exist after she refused to testify before a pair of House committees last year. Now, Lerner is the IRS former official at the center of a controversy over how the agency treated conservative political groups. A group of American medical aid workers exposed to the Ebola virus have been cleared to go home today. In all, 17 workers were exposed to an infected colleague in Sierra Leone, but none developed the deadly virus. 5 of the workers who were monitored closely for 3 weeks in Nebraska have left the hospital. Other workers were monitored at the CDC in Atlanta. Now, the worker with Ebola is being treated at the National Institutes of Health in Maryland. A report on Monday said that patient is in fair condition.
Now at 5, the launch of SpaceX's next resupply run to the International Space Station will be a week from Monday. That'll be on April 13th. Liftoff is planned for 4:30 in the afternoon from Cape Canaveral. The Dragon rocket will be packed with more than 4,300 pounds of food and equipment. The spacecraft will stay at the space station about 1 month and then return to Earth in May.
Coming up, this video of a New York City detective berating an Uber driver has gone viral. It turns out his tirade cost him a lot. We'll have all the details for you ahead at 5:30.
Plus, it was not that long ago Americans were struggling to keep their main homes from foreclosures. Now a new report finds more of us are looking to buy a second home. What areas experts say could see a boost from vacation home buyers coming up.
But up next, meteorologist Joey Sovine working hard over there in the Weather Center. He has your weather on the One's forecast every 10 minutes. The time right now, 5:18. Week News This Morning. We'll be right back.
Big News was on the scene of breaking news in Lee County this morning. A rollover crash shut down an I-75 off-ramp onto Palm Beach Boulevard. Of course, the major thoroughfare going into Fort Myers.
Right now, Wink News reporter Stephanie Susskind is on the scene aggressively working to get more information. Authorities tell us a woman was driving the wrong way on I-75 and crashed off the exit ramp of 141 South, taking out a power pole. Now, we're not aware of any power outages. At this moment right now, we're still working to find out that information. We'll have a live report coming up at 5:30.
Now, Wink weather on the Ones.
5:21 the time. Live look down Palm Beach Boulevard right now.
That's your Wake News traffic. Jen, Corey, back to you.
Today, there's a new way to vacation in Cuba. Online home rental service Airbnb is now operational in the island nation.
There are more than 1,000 properties across the island available for rent, 40% of which are in Havana. The company has been sending teams of representatives to Cuba for 3 months now to sign up homeowners and plans to expand steadily in coming months. Right now, the U.S. has the upper hand because non-U.S. travelers are not able to use Airbnb to book in Cuba.
Despite a promised pay raise for 90,000 of its workers, some McDonald's employees are still planning to protest today. That pay increase starts July 1st and will be at least a full $1 an hour more than the state's legal minimum. The only catch is it applies to the 1,500 restaurants actually owned by the McDonald's Corporation, not franchises, which employs the vast majority of McDonald's workers. Some advocates of higher minimum wage are calling it a PR stunt and demonstrates an even greater need for more protests.
The U.S. government has a new weapon against cyber hackers who threaten national security. President Obama has signed an executive order allowing the Treasury Department to place financial sanctions on cyber hackers. It can be for individuals or groups, anyone who engages in malicious cyber activities. The online behavior must be deemed a threat to national security, foreign policy, or the national financial health and stability.
HBO lovers have one more way to watch the Game of Thrones when it premieres in 10 days. Corey's excited about that. If you subscribe to Dish's internet TV service, Sling TV, you can now order HBO for an extra $15 a month. That's the same price that you pay for HBO Now internet service that you get through Apple. Dish says the HBO service over Sling TV will include the live HBO channel and on-demand TV shows and movies.
I'll pay whatever I have to get my Game of Thrones.
Next weekend, you can pre-order the Apple Watch. And tech analysts predict on April 10th, Apple could sell 300,000 of the new smartwatches, another million perhaps when it launches in stores and online the following weekend. Apple unveiled its smartwatch last September. It comes in 3 different versions. You have the Apple Watch Sport, Apple Watch, and the 18-karat gold Apple Watch edition.
Which is the one you want.
That's the really nice one. Prices do range from $349 up to $17,000. Apple Watch works with the iPhone 5, the iPhone 6, and the 6 Plus.
You plan to get one?
I would love to get one, but I won't be going for the $17,000 one, no.
Well, soon Honda's Civic Compact won't be so boring. The company is showing off a low-riding coupe version of the popular small car at the New York Auto Show. Take a look. The redesign boasts dramatic creases, a short hood, and LED tail and headlights. Pretty cool. The car will get new engines and transmissions. Honda notes that the production version will offer a number of driver assist features, such as adaptive cruise control and a review camera. More Americans are buying vacation homes than they were a few years ago. The National Association of Realtors found 21% of all homes bought last year were vacation homes. That's the highest level of vacation home purchases since 2003. The most popular location for those looking for a second home is, not surprisingly, the beach. Experts say popular vacation spots like the beach and mountains could use the boost since they tend to have a slower economic recovery pace.
Our houses go for sale here and seem to sell the next day, right? If you're in the market for a new vacation home, why not join a new trend emerging in Miami that's chock full of high-end brand names? With a bunch of residential and hotel developments, the city is embracing the notion that homes, like cars and handbags and jewelry, should carry luxe designer labels, names like Porsche and Armani, Fendi. To get a sense of the demand these homes have, the Porsche design tower is mostly sold out, even though it won't be finished until early 2016, meaning most buyers committed millions based simply on blueprints. Well, if you know a brand and you like a brand, you know it's going to be nice.
Hey, those are the hot things right now, those car lifts. You can just park right in. The car goes down to the little basement.
Mm-hmm.
They make anything.
I need friends that have these types of things, right? It is 5:27. You are watching Wink News This Morning. Welcome back to Wink News This Morning. In case you are just joining us, the off-ramp onto Palm Beach Boulevard from I-75 is shut down right now following a single vehicle, very serious crash. You're looking at images there of that crash. That car is mangled. Wink News reporter Stephanie Susskind has been giving us updates all morning, and she's live at the scene with more information. Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning. Take a look at the scene out here. Since we last showed you the scene, a tow truck has now arrived to try to take that car away from this area. FPL's power truck has since left the scene, indicating to us that there's no issues with the power out here, although that car did take out a power pole. Now, Florida Highway Patrol tells Wink News this was a wrong-way driver. A woman was heading northbound in the southbound lanes of I-75 when she went off the road and crashed into that power pole. Troopers say that alcohol was a factor and that woman was taken to the hospital. Now, because of this crash, the off-ramp of I-75 southbound at exit 141, that's Palm Beach Boulevard, is still closed at this time. We expect it will stay closed while troopers and the wrecker work to get this car out of the area. So for more on how this will impact your morning commute, let's toss things over to Wink News traffic anchor Therese O'Shea.
Yeah, Stephanie, thank you. 5:31 right now. And this is where Stephanie's out at live at that closure right now, that exit ramp getting off of 75 southbound here to Palm Beach Boulevard. So let's map out some alternate routes in case this was part of your morning commute. Obviously, you don't want to head this way anymore. So your
high temperatures today around 87 degrees.
We're getting some brand new information about a deadly attack we told you about 10 minutes ago at a Kenya college. Just in the last 15 minutes, the death toll has risen from 2 to at least 15. The number injured has also risen from 29 to 60. Early this morning, gunmen attacked the campus in Kenya, shooting randomly into dormitories. Police say the attack has the signatures of a Somali Islamic extremist group.
Developing this morning, Wink News is hearing from the man who called 911 after finding 8 people dead and 10 others injured in that church van crash in Glades County.
There was a man hollering at us trying to get somebody to stop us. Said the man that flagged us down had a bone poking out of his leg.
Gary Lucky of LaBelle was driving down US 27 Monday morning when he heard a man yelling on the side of the road. He stopped and found that man covered in blood. The man led him to the canal where Lucky saw the church van lying in the water. Lucky says it's a good thing he was there. He says, please don't call him a hero.
The real hero was that man that was able to climb out of that vehicle, walk through that water, scramble up a steep bank, and managed to walk out here to the highway to holler at us to get us to stop.
Federal investigators are expected to be in Southwest Florida for several more days looking into what may have caused that crash.
This morning, a New York City police detective is now on modified duty after his tirade against an Uber driver went viral. As Don Champion reports, the punishment was handed down quickly.
Stop it with that bull. Okay. And realize the 3 vehicle and traffic law violations you committed.
This New York City police detective's tirade against an Uber driver has now landed him on modified duty. The video was taped by a passenger in the backseat of the car.
I don't know what planet you think you're on right now.
Detective Patrick Cherry pulled over the driver Monday after he honked at him while trying to park. Cherry, in an unmarked car at the time, then berated the driver for 3 minutes, even mocking his accent at one point.
How long have you been in this country?
In any encounter, just courtesy like that and language like that is unacceptable.
The police commissioner quickly condemned Cherry's behavior. The detective had been part of the department's elite joint terrorism task force, but has now been transferred. The passenger in the Uber vehicle filed a complaint and testified before the city's Civilian Complaint Review Board Wednesday. WCBS TV reports the incident marks the 13th time the review board has investigated Cherry.
That officer's behavior violated every one of the tenets that we are attempting to teach at the police academy.
The Uber driver was never ticketed. Uber called the detective's behavior wrong and unacceptable.
Don Champion, Wink News.
Now, the city's detectives union called the incident isolated and said Cherry should not be judged by what happened.
Now at 5:36, some people long for the laid-back life of the West Coast, but what's going on there now may have you thinking twice. For the first time in history, the entire state of California is under mandatory water restriction. Governor Jerry Brown's plan requires all 400 of California's local water agencies to come up with plans to monitor and cut water usage or face possible fines. Some have no rules yet, while others already have tough restrictions in place.
But overall, we're looking for a 25% aggregate reduction. Some have done a lot more, and so their requirements will be less. Some have not done very much at all. Theirs will be more difficult and greater.
California is in its 4th year of a statewide drought, and last year Governor Brown declared a drought state of emergency. Now this morning, an update about Southwest Florida's most famous bald eagle, Ozzie. Doctors at a rehab center on Sanibel Island say that the bird is getting physical therapy every 3 days after breaking a shoulder bone last month. These are some pictures that we have of his treatment. These are new pictures. He spends all of his time in an outdoor enclosure and is expected to return to full flight in just a few weeks, which is great news.
Absolutely.
Right after the break, Wink meteorologist Joey Sovine's back in with your weather on the ones.
You're watching Wink News this morning, Southwest Florida's news leader.
That's your Wink News traffic. Jen, Corey, back to you.
All right, thanks, Trace. Well, believe it or not, Easter Sunday is getting closer, but there's still time to stock up on all of your Easter goodies.
And we just happen to be fortunate enough to have some high-quality chocolate right here in our own backyard. So where's Wink now? Wink News reporter John Treeweiler has the answer.
Hey, Corey and Jen, good morning to you. We're out here at Norman Love Confections.
Right now, the time is 5:47. Wink News this morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've been following breaking news since 4:30 this morning about a crash on I-75 that has shut down the off-ramp onto Palm Beach Boulevard.
Wink News reporter Stephanie Suskind has been giving us updates all morning long. She joins us live from that scene with more. Steph, what is the latest?
Good morning. The exit ramp still closed right now, but take a look out here as the tow truck has now gotten that car up onto it and it's getting ready to pull away. What we still see left in the grass is that mangled power pole that the car took out when it crashed. Florida Highway Patrol tells Wink News that a woman was driving the wrong way, heading north in the southbound lanes of I-75 when she went off the road and hit that power pole. This is what's keeping the exit ramp closed here at mile marker 141. That's the exit to Palm Beach Boulevard. Southbound is still closed. Now, troopers say the woman was taken to the hospital. Again, they do believe alcohol played a role in this crash. Now that they have the car up on the wrecker and the investigation is still continuing, we expect to learn more information. For more now on how this will impact your morning commute, let's head things over to Wink News traffic anchor Therese O'Shea.
Yeah, Stephanie, thank you. Well, the big impact right now is that we're getting toward the 6 o'clock hour, the busier part of the morning drive as more people get on the roads, and that's going to start to cause delays. Right now, it's not looking too bad on 75. That was a live look out near Luckett Road, just south of Palm Beach Boulevard.
Coming up at 6:01, guys.
Here's a look at some of our top stories for you this morning.
Another traffic incident this morning. One person is dead after a car crash in Charlotte County. It happened just after midnight on Oil Well Road and Bass Road in Punta Gorda. Now, Florida Highway Patrol says 55-year-old Jerry Bailey was driving a pickup truck when it went off the road, throwing him from the car, killing him. All roads are now back open.
At least 15 people are dead and 29 others are hurt at a college campus in Kenya. Gunmen attacked that campus early this morning, shooting randomly into dormitories. Police say the attack has the signatures of a Somali Islamic extremist group. Police and military surrounded the building, and at last check, they were trying to secure the area. We're going to, of course, continue to monitor this situation. The latest updates will be coming throughout the morning.
Indiana lawmakers will hold a committee meeting today to examine new language intended to clarify and fix the state's newly passed religious freedom law. It's expected to explicitly prevent businesses from using the legislation to discriminate against gays and lesbians. On Wednesday, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson called on lawmakers in his state to either recall or amend a similar bill that passed this week. He is now asking for a bill that mirrors the federal law passed back in 1993.
A local DJ says he will continue to throw parties at Sunsplash Water Park in Cape Coral, even though neighbors are worried about noise and safety. Over the weekend, there were reports of teens having sex in the pools, drinking, and playing music too loud. But the party's DJ tells Wink News he signed a contract that would allow 6 more after-hours parties at Sunsplash. The manager at Sunsplash says because Saturday's party got so out of hand, she will never let another event like that take place at the park.
All new at 5, of all the April Fool's jokes that flew across the web, Google may actually be the winner.
Yeah, one of the new fake services offered is through Google Fiber. It's called dial-up mode. Google Fiber is super fast internet, but the engineers behind it say they wanted to put it in dial-up mode to slow things down and give users a chance to stop and smell the roses.
I love dial-up mode. Before dial-up mode, everyone was glued to their devices. Now we can have family time again.
We noticed 3 times more calls to grandma, 10 times more hugs, and 15 times the amount of popcorn consumed per household.
Well, all right, this is obviously a throwback to the 56K modems of the 90s and early 2000s. But Google's next April Fool's Day joke goes back even farther. Take a look.
Imagine a mailbox that saves you a trip when nothing is there, or notifies you the second it arrives. A mailbox that learns from your habits, that's never too hot or too cold.
Hey, that's actually a pretty good idea. All right, so this is Google's Smart Box. It's designed as a smarter mailbox that fuses your physical mail with everything you love about the electronic kind.
Now, these past two things could actually be believable inventions, however absurd they may be. But this next one takes the foolish cake.
Introducing Google Actual Cloud Platform.
This is the world's first cloud offering running on servers in the troposphere, inside actual clouds.
It's faster, it's more scalable, it's more secure. And most importantly, it looks like a real cloud.
The cloud, of course, is that unseen place where all of our pictures, video, and music is stored. But this version looks like an actual cloud. It even comes with perks like Storm Boost, which gives you more power during thunderstorms. Now, see, meteorologists would like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You like nerding out on that right now.
That's pretty sweet.
I don't know if you'd want to go in there and like go around in the cloud. You might see some ugly things in there.
Yeah, you don't want to know what's
Might
in
be
the
a pretty thick cloud, probably.
That cloud's clean.
Pictures and.
How about your cloud?
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, straight ahead, continuing updates on these stories and more, plus your weather on the One's forecast every 10 minutes with Wink News meteorologist Joey Sovine.
And your time right now is 5:57. Wink News this morning at 6 is just a few minutes away.